You're listening to IRN, the Inception Radio Network, Chicago, Illinois.
The Extraordinary Phenomenon Investigations Council presents EPIC Voyages. Come join us as we enter and experience the great mysteries of the world with tonight's host,
John Cappello.
Hello and welcome to EPIC Voyagers Radio here on the Inception Radio Network. I'm your guest host tonight, John Cappello, and we'd like to thank all of you for joining us this evening. And we especially appreciate our live listeners. And if you're downloading our program, we want to thank you for doing that as well. As I was saying, my name is John Cappello, and I am a psychic medium from the North Texas area. I'm on the show fairly frequently, and I'm delighted to be able to bring different kinds of topics to the program. And tonight we have two very special guests visiting Texas from Hawaii, and I'm really honored to have both of them here. And so we hope that you'll join us in the chat room or give us a phone call and here at the Inception Radio Network. If you don't have the number, if you're listening away from the internet and or if you don't have a browser, if you're just listening through the radio, then you can call us at 888-440-7130. And as I was saying, I have my own program here on the Inception Radio Network. We call our program Beyond Metaphysics, and we are on Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, I always tell people a little bit about EPIC Voyagers and a little bit about my work, and we also invite you to go to the EPIC Voyagers website because EPIC Voyagers, of course, is the Extraordinary Paranormal Investigation Council, and this is a group that investigates UFOs or UFO sightings, or if there is a paranormal event that you might have some questions about, you can contact EPIC Voyagers, and you can ask some of the experts that we have on staff about what's going on. And there are even teams that we have that can go out to check on different phenomena that's unexplained. So we hope that you'll utilize our services, join our organization. I believe that Ken Cherry is our founder and our leader of the organization, and he's very well schooled at being able to help people identify what's real and what's not real. So we hope that you will take advantage of these services. Go to our website and check it out, and you can also download other podcasts of this program. and you can find out about all the interesting topics that we talk about here on the program. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I'm a psychic medium, as I was saying, that travels around the country, travels around the United States. I just got back from a long trip to Oklahoma and Kansas, and so I was doing aura photography, and I was doing spirit galleries in Oklahoma City, Tulsa, and also in Wichita, Kansas. And it was such a delightful time, all the nice people there that I had the opportunity to meet. And I'd like to say thank you to the people at Nature's Treasures in Midwest City, Oklahoma, and Earth and Soul in Tulsa, or Sand Springs, Oklahoma, and also White Dove in Wichita, Kansas. All of them were very, very nice people. Now, I don't want to take too much time in talking about some of the other things that EPIC Voyagers does, or me. I'd like to go ahead and get to our guests tonight. Our guests are Keola and Kanoa, and they're both spiritual healers, and they do it in the ancient art of the Hawaiian culture. And so I'm going to go ahead and ask each of them to join us this evening. And I want to first start with Keola. Keola, are you there?
Aloha.
How are you?
Keola. Fine, thank you.
Good. Thanks for joining us on the program. Now, you are visiting Texas, of all places, bringing your work here, but you've been here before, is that right?
Yes, I was here last October.
Well, good. That's good. And so there's quite a bit of an interest in your work, even here in the Lone Star State. And can you tell us a little bit about how you got involved with this type of work? And after you've told us a little bit about yourself, I'll go on over to Kanoa and have him tell us a little bit about what he does and how he got involved. But you were telling me earlier, before the program started, that you were a second generation farmer in Hawaii, and you had a revelation. Is that right?
Yes, an awakening.
Mm-hmm.
I was a second generation farmer, and at that time I was a real different person. I had a lot of anger issues in me, the pressure from the farm working, and at that time the pressure was so bad, I was actually looking for a way to release this frustration, anger that I had. And at that time, I knew Kanoa from the same school that I graduated at. He actually graduated with my brother, and at a class reunion, we met, and he asked me if I wanted to let go of the anger. And he assisted me in letting go of that anger. And within that same week, I had someone else come and take me to a spiritual place. Before that, I wasn't very spiritual or believed in very much of anything. And at this spiritual site, Heiau, is where I had my experience that's changed my life. And from that point, I've shut my farm down and actually started working, started helping people. Mm-hmm. This path has been 15 years now, and it's been very interesting and gratifying spiritual journey that I've been on.
Well, did you have any particular mentors, or was there a particular person or idea that got you into healing? Because, in my work, I'm a psychic and medium, and I'm in the receptive side of psychic ability. You're more in the sending side, as far as being able to send healing energy to others. And I was wondering, was there someone that did a healing on you, or how did that transpire?
Well, like I said, initially when Kanoa helped me let go of the anger.
Kanoa. Okay.
Yeah, and that actually opened me up, and it allowed me to receive my own information on certain things, working on people, assisting them. It was a weird journey that started out where people would just show up at my house, people I didn't know. And when I would ask them to step in, they would start to be emotional and start to cry, and I would sit down and start working. And that went on for roughly 4 to 6 months. And then I guess at that point I finally got it. This is what I need to be doing.
So you were saying earlier too that it was kind of like being downloaded or having information just kind of overwhelm you. And is that how it happened?
Yes, I went through 10 months of integration, heavy pressure, and it was all day, all night. And the only time it would stop is when someone would show up at my door. When they needed help, then the download would stop, and I would work on them. And as soon as they left, the downloads continued. And that's how it went on. For the integration was actually a 10-month period of receiving information and learnings.
Now, when you say you receive information, did you receive it from a guide who made themselves known to you, or was it just this higher consciousness that you felt was overcoming you?
Well, it's hard to explain, but whenever I get my information, for some reason, I always say, when I'm talking to someone, I said, they said this. This information comes in from above, and I follow their guidance, and it's always made things very easy, as long as I was open and paid attention and didn't get in my own road.
Yeah. Well, it's just interesting because you're a man's man. You're not. There's nothing that's not masculine about you in any way. I mean, a hardworking man, a farmer. Nobody works harder than a farmer. But sometimes it's difficult for men to be open to this kind of work. And what would you say? Why do you think that it's so hard for some men to accept gifts that are beyond the physical, or gifts that, as far as healing is concerned? I know it's putting you on the spot, but here you were, this person that kind of made a complete turnaround, and it'd be interesting to hear what you would have to say about that.
Well, a lot of people do have sensitivities or do see things. Many of them don't want to talk about it, or they're embarrassed. They think people will think of them as being weird or crazy. And it's trusting what you get. It's allowing both sides to come out. When I work on people, they need to feel my heart. They need to feel my true intentions of wanting to help. So we send love and light to everyone. And that's a nice thing. It's just that people have been putting up so much walls on trying not to feel things. And those walls interfere with them having that softness of heart also.
Well, do you think that that's more about men doing that versus women? Because it seems like women are much more open to psychic work or healing work, and you see so many women who are Reiki masters, and you see some men, but it just is a predominantly female work or acceptance, but you and Kanoa are unique in that regard.
Yeah, women, boys, when they're growing up, have an easier time to shut down their abilities or stifle it. With women, they're more feeling, and it's hard for them to shut down, and so a lot of times it's just them learning how to control the abilities they have. And a lot of people shut down because they're trying not to feel emotions from others. Men and women, when they're really young, they're open. Their bowl of light is clear, and they can feel everything. And that's normally what happens. Boys, we're growing up, and they always tell you need to be hard, you don't cry, and those are things that kind of affect them. About showing that we talk about that male-female energy. You have to have the balance on both sides. You do. You have to have the balance, and I don't mean to be gender profiling, as someone was saying here, but the thing about it is that it's true that more and more men are opening up, and that's good because we're starting to see a balance between with these energies, and another reason why I was bringing this up is because
the receptive side of psychic ability is considered more feminine, whereas the sending side is more masculine, because it's that proactive or that positive energy that's going into the healing side. Now, both men and women can do this. It's just that it's working on those two different genres of psychic ability that I find interesting. So, I just wanted to kind of get your take on that, because it's interesting to me to find out people's stories and their opinions and their perspectives on different things. And I want to go ahead and bring in Kanoa also. So, Kanoa, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good. You also have a really interesting story about how you got into healing. And I'd like to just, kind of set the basis for how each of you got into this, and then find out a little bit more about the history of Hawaiian teaching and Hawaiian spirituality. And so I want you to just let us share with us what your story is about how you got into this type of work, because it's just fascinating. So please share that with us.
Well, I was in the Navy for 22 years, and people find that surprising. And it seemed like when I was in the Navy, it just seemed a little different. I could get along with everybody, and however, when I got out, I worked for General Electric Nuclear Inspection Services around the United States, and even went to Fukushima, Japan. And my dad passed away after I got out, and I just wished that I could have helped him. And I was looking for something. My mom was still alive then, and I wanted to help my mom, so I was just looking and searching, and I came across, among other things, NLP, hypnosis, and then finally Hawaiian Healing. And people were telling me to go to Hawaiian Healing. And when I did go, the first time that I went, at the end of the class, after graduation, my mom comes in there, and I find out that I'm related to the kumu, the teacher. And then we go to another training, and at graduation, I find out I'm related to that person too. And then I start researching my family and find out that, my grandfather was the healer in our family. But by the time I came around, my dad, who's from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, kind of cut all that stuff out, and it was funny. And then and it just seemed like that I was connected to all of these people. And when I started researching my background, okay, so it was actually in there and was dormant a little for a while, and then it just sprang forth. And just leaps and bounds. And we're talking about some of the healing practices that we have. Some of it, in the olden days, they didn't want us to share it, and there were several people in the 70s and 80s that Hawaiians, that healers, that stood their ground and said, we're going to share this. And they took a lot of heat for it, but they stuck to their guns. And that's one of the people that we follow, our work is based on, is Auntie Mona Simeona's work. And she basically says, if you're experiencing trauma today, whatever stress you might have, if you look closely enough, it's related to something from the past that's unresolved. So that's basically our work. We help people release negative emotions from the past, so whatever's in the present will resolve. Anyway, I'm kind of getting off the subject a little bit.
Well, like I say, I just kind of wanted to know how you got involved in it. So it sounds like was this your mother or grandmother, you said, that got kind of opened you up to it?
My mother was afraid. It was my grandfather was the healer in our family.
Ah, your grandfather.
However, by the time I came around, my dad kind of cut all that Hawaiian healing stuff out. He's from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So it took a while for it to come back.
So the males, the men in your family were always kind of metaphysical, in addition to the women. So that's a blessing.
Like,
yeah. But you worked on submarines, and you worked on big ships like
nuclear power plants,
nuclear power plants, and stuff like that. So
for me, it needs to make sense. It's not like this metaphysical spiritual stuff, it needs to make concrete sense. So in our practice, when we explain something, we can explain it where it makes logical sense. And we're going to do that tonight. That's a part of it. An area where we're going to give you what we refer to as a foundation, how people create blocks and things. And then the saying that we have is, we explain it logical, makes psychological sense, makes common sense. And then when we get ready to remove the blocks, that's when we apply the Hawaiian Healing, and by then it's too late, so to speak.
That you bring up so many good points, because I want the audience to know that the work you do and the work of psychics and mediums comes from a very grounded place, and it comes from the heart. It comes from the desire to help people, and we all have an ability to heal others, or we have abilities that a lot of times go dormant because we don't work with them, or we don't acknowledge them, and it's a shame that we don't try to develop our gifts. And what I admire about you and Keola is that you do recognize that the value. You do recognize that there's something wonderful about what you have to offer, and that's really what I wanted to put into perspective there. And so what I'd like for you to just tell us a little bit about is about Hawaiian spirituality and a little bit about its history, because I know you're very much into that. And so, how long has this practice of healing been going on, about removing phobias and about helping people overcome their self limitations? How long has that been going on?
So, as long as we've had Hawaiians. And really, it's not just Hawaiians; it's indigenous people in general. So one of the things that I make a comment of, some of the practices that we have, I say these are indigenous practices. So when we're teaching a class, or we have a session, or talking to a group, I'll say, how many of you are from an indigenous culture? And most of the time, there's at least a few people that raise their hand or that say they're not from an indigenous culture. And I say, just keep going back farther in your culture. You hit indigenous eventually. So we all come from indigenous cultures. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I just wanted to point out that Keola alluded to, but he didn't really make it clear, was after you clear all your stuff, all your blocks, then you get your own messages. He said that. However, I just want to point out that some of the most significant things that we have in our clearing protocols, Keola got. And the first time he did one of those, one of the modalities that he had, I look at him and I go, "Where'd you get that from?" And he looks up into the heavens, I'm like, "Oh, that's right." But anyway, and people are constantly calling us and saying, because sometimes people can already see, they have the abilities, they can see, and they can see shadows and things like that. And then after they have a session with us, they call us and go, and they're amazed at how much clearer, and it kind of scares them. It's like I was talking to a real person, and it's, we told you were going to see, but we didn't think you meant that clear, So they get their own messages, and that's what it's about, getting your own messages.
Well, when the Hawaiians were without the influence of Europeans and others, who would they go to? Did they have a spiritual leader that helped people with their issues, or so they had their own psychologists, basically.
Absolutely, and we consider ourselves Hawaiian psychologists per se. Anyway, in the olden days, the Hawaiians were more secular as far as living in villages and ahupua'as, sections. So every area would have your family. If your family didn't have a, so to speak, healer, and they weren't really called healers back then, they're just the one to go to, and if there was an issue, let's say, John, we were a family, and there was an issue between us, we would resolve it. We would have a conflict resolution get together, so to speak. It's called ho'oponopono. And ho'o means to make, and pono means right. And ponopono is an emphasis on really making right, or right times two. So if we had an issue, an elder would get together, normally it was a kahuna, a healer, and everybody in the family would get together. It could even be the whole village, and everybody had a voice. And whatever the issue was, this is your time to speak. And then once it was done, then the decision was made, whatever might have to be done, forgiveness, whatever the outcome was, then it was never spoken of again. You have your say, you release the negative emotions, and that was it. There is also a place in Hawaii called the City of Refuge. It's called Pu'unua Ho'onaunau. And even I thought this, they said that if a person did something and, they were sentenced to death or whatever the penalty might be, if they made it to Pu'unua Ho'onaunau, all their sins were forgiven. So when I was growing up, I thought it was kind of like a touch and go thing. You made it there, you like walked in and walked out. It wasn't like that at all. It was, first of all, it was protected. It wasn't like you could just go to like 7-Eleven, and if they caught you trying to get in, you would be sacrificed. No ands, ifs, or buts. However, if you made it in, then the healers, the kahunas, would work on you. And they would clear all the opala, the kaumaha, the pilikia, the stuff, from your bowl of light, all the trauma, all the negative emotions. And when you actually laughed, you were lokahi, balanced. And that's the word, in Hawaii, what we do is we bring people to lokahi, balance. So if you're lokahi or balanced, then if you can think of any memory from the past, no matter how traumatic it was, it should be neutral.
So it sounds like even though these were an indigenous tribe, people that I guess in some ways we looked at them as primitive, they were very sophisticated in the way that they handled issues. Because they had their ways. Now, of course, the human sacrifice and things like that are not not acceptable. But in many ways, they had some really sophisticated ways of dealing with energy. And it's interesting that they looked upon it as energy. And that brings us to our next topic. You are a healer and you are a person that works with energy, but you have a technique that you use to help remove phobias and help remove these limitations that we place upon ourselves. And do you work with spirit guides, or do you work with just the Creator, or what? Where do you channel your energy from?
The quick answer is yes. We have spirit guides. In fact, when we teach our class, in the level 2 class, we actually bring guides in for our haumana. But we like to preface that, we don't really create these guides. So, we're hesitant to say everybody gets one. Because, if you're not at the right place, if Spirit says no, you don't get it. However, that hasn't happened yet. But, and it's not like you don't have guides already, and then, these Hawaiian guides are going to take over and all that stuff. I like to refer to them as user-friendly. And, they're just below archangels if you want to have a hierarchy. And you can work with them in doing the energy work. They help you use the energy quite well. So, yes, we work with, in our terms, we call it akua, but it could be the God, In our world or realm, we call it akua, but we also call it God or spirit. And it's the higher source.
And now a lot of energy healers that I've talked to, a lot of them work with heart energy. And as a matter of fact, a lot of healers wind up with heart problems. I know we've talked to Ray Dornan, who has heart issues, and these spiritual workers just exert so much energy from themselves as they channel energy from the spirit world. It seems to take its toll on them. You said, are you able to protect yourself from any of that?
I really like to answer this question, but if Keola's listening, I want him to answer it.
Okay.
Keola, you listening?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I'll go and click off for now. And yeah.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Keola, you answer it.
Okay.
Keep Carol happy in the chat room here.
There you go. When we work on people, we allow them to feel love and light from our hearts. Because in order for them to trust us, to assist them in letting go, they need to feel your true intentions. They need to feel you from the heart. But when we're actually clearing people, it is not our energy that we use. If I use my own energy, then it'll drain me. Mm-hmm. I use universal energy from all around me. And a lot of times when people look at energies or visualize energies coming into them, a lot of them will see it as coming into the top of their heads. And when you do that, what happens is you're limiting the amount of energy you flow. Mm-hmm. So when they're working on people, they will use their energies. For us, energy is all around us. Mm-hmm. It's all around. It is an unlimited supply. And so that way you never drain yourself. We do clearings of phobias or an emotional event, and we'll work on 80 people in 2 hours. And when we're done, I'm hot because I'm heated up. But as far as feeling drained, no, I'm just excited, energized because of the energy flow. So that's kind of how we do it, to keep ourselves. A lot of people do drain. And the part is there are some people that really don't protect themselves, and you're going out into the public and people love your energies and they don't mean to, but they love to hang on to your energies, and sometimes that drains people.
Yeah, that's true. I know. I have to admit, I get drained from doing work, especially in large groups. But a lot of people get drained by going to the mall or being in an airplane or being on a bus and things like that. And so you were saying, how do people protect themselves from doing that, from letting them be drained?
Yeah, a lot of people have what they call protection, and they put up all fancy things. And the thing, what we do is we keep it simple, because I teach indigo children, because they're very sensitive. I teach them how not to take in other people's rubbish. And so we just keep it very simple, and it's visualizing with your mind, because your mind is the strongest muscle you have. Mm-hmm. And so everyone has an aura, and the energies around your body, we just put a bubble around this aura. But this bubble is a filter. It allows you to send love and light, allows you to receive love and light. The only thing this filter does is it keeps negative emotions out. I can sense when someone's angry. I don't want to feel it. If I feel it, it affects me. And so that's basically how we do it. We keep it as simple as possible and effective. So this is some of the things that we teach people. We teach people that are healers and who get sick. Who people touch people to do massage and lomi, and after 3-4 people, then they feel drained or they're feeling sick. They taking in rubbish. So it's a very important part in what we consider the basic. And that's what, when we do our trainings, we cover a lot of the basics that a lot of people don't cover, because these are the things, the foundation you need before you go into any other type of healing. These are the things that you need to learn to control your own space. Keep others from affecting your space, your thoughts, And these are the basic things that we teach. And that's That's just about it.
Yeah, well, that's important that we know that you have to not take on what you're working on, and because I know a lot of healers who do get sick and who do have issues after they have worked on other people, and I know I have to admit sometimes it does affect me as well, and so I have to have some time to recoup. But earlier today, you and Kanoa worked on me and to help remove blocks and things like that, and you have with you Tamara. Tamara is traveling with you. And I noticed that she would be on my left and you were on my right, and Kanoa was behind me. Is there a reason for that, to have the feminine energy, the masculine energy, and then I guess maybe almost like a control guide there? Is that part of the actual spiritual healing, or what?
No.
How does that work?
Yeah. No, we work on people individually. We work on people either Tam and Kanoa or me and Tam, or if it's just us, then we'll all three work on one person. And the energies, it's always balanced, but it's nice when all three of us, we kind of blend energies. Even when we're in a classroom setting, we kind of set the classroom energies, and the three of us balance it out. So it's a nice, peaceful, calming energy. So people can relax and actually receive information, yeah?
Now, earlier, when we were talking as well, there was some controversy in Hawaii among the natives, if you want to say that, about teaching people who are non-Hawaiian about this work, and you're now it's accepted to teach non-Hawaiians this type of modality. But what was that like? Can you tell us a little bit about how the culture wanted to kind of keep it within the group, or what was that about?
Absolutely. Kanoa's back. Yeah,
Go ahead.
So I actually looked it up on the internet and looked at some of the laws and some of the things that was going through in the early days. I just wanted to know. And one of the most respected healers in Hawaii, he was an herbalist, La'au Lapa'au. And the government, always wants to get their 2 cents in, and they wanted to legislate, okay, in order to be a Hawaiian healer and this way you have to do this and you have to pass this test and blah blah blah, and gave all kinds of stuff. And the healers got together, the elders, and said, no, that's not it. And Papa Hawaii wrote so to speak, a dissertation, and said that, and these are almost his literal words, I choose my haumana, my students, based on their spirituality and not their ethnicity. And my students will continue to practice and teach others. And when one of the highest kahunanuis said it, it was like, okay. And then we had Auntie Morna Simeona, who is in my family lineage. And she, of course, went through some heat because she was taking it out to the Western world, and in teaching, she taught or presented the Ho'oponopono conflict resolution to the United Nations, and presented again at some medical conference, world medical conference in somewhere in Europe. So and she at the time took a lot of heat. Now it's considerably more accepted. However, there's still some families in Hawaii that choose to keep their healing within the family. And for me, I totally respect that. That's not my lineage. That's not because, my thought is, if you want the consciousness of the planet, you just can't raise the consciousness of your family,
Yeah.
You got to work with a lot of people and raise the consciousness of as many people as you can.
Well, it's all about positive values, and it's all about, like you were saying, balance. And I think all cultures have that goal in mind. It's just the uniqueness of the Hawaiian culture, which is always viewed from my perspective positively, and everyone has it hopefully on their bucket list to go to Hawaii, because the image is of serenity, the energy or the image is of calmness. Now I know you live out there, and it may be very different. It's hustle and bustle, but the image to many of us is that it's a place of calm, a place of healing, because of the closeness of the ocean and the beauty of the ocean. So it sounds very attractive to have been part of a native culture many years ago that was unencumbered by so much of the European influence, and to be able to have healing done, or maybe even not need the healing that we need in this particular society. But with society becoming more and more complicated, it is refreshing to also be able to step back and know that there are ways that we can release some of these energies. So, Kanoa, can you tell us a little bit about some of the healings that you've done, and can you tell us how people have reacted to you in the past?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because some of our most significant healings that we remember seem to center around phobias. Of course, it's not about phobias, but when you clear somebody's significant phobia that they have, that's what they remember. So we do a full clearing on them. We clear all their anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt, fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of being undeserving, unworthy, issues of abandonment, aligning their values with regards to relationships, family, personal growth, health and fitness, career, spirituality, life and living in general specifically. Resolve conflicts with people, places, and things, including self and spirit. And when we see them 6 months, a year later or so, they bring up clearing the phobia. Oh, I was a spider lady. Oh, I'm the and that's kind of funny. So, some of the significant ones that we remember, and this is the most extreme phobia that we had, and I told this story to John already. And and she was a Hawaiian healer. I mentioned the Kahuna Nui, the Papa Hawaii. She was one of his 100, and she lived for months at a time. And she was afraid of snakes. And some people might think, I didn't think they had snakes in Hawaii. You're right. We don't. However, how afraid of snakes was she? If she's seen a real snake, she'd pass out for a couple hours. If she's seen a picture of a snake, she'd pass out for a couple hours. And 46 years later, her daughter drew a snake on a napkin at a restaurant, showed it to her mom. What about this? Passed out for a couple hours. So the interesting story is, when we found out that she had a phobia, we wanted to help her let it go. And she went through so many things before. She's seen psychiatrists and psychologists and hypnotherapists, whatever, and it didn't work. So when we asked her, hey, Carol, we can let it go. And she knew us. She was our friend. She was Keola's. She farmed with Keola. They had separate farms. And she said, oh, no, I'm good. No, don't even think about it. No. And anyway, to make a long story short, a month and a half later, Keola, so we couldn't do the phobia thing. She wouldn't even let us. A month and a half later, Keola gets up and has a feeling that he needs to go over and talk to her. So when he goes over to talk to her, Keola, you want to finish the story, or you want me to?
You can. It's fine.
Okay. So so he goes over to her house and he says, how's it going? She says, oh, everything's fine. He says, well, that's not what they're saying. Well, I got some family stuff going on. So he helps her let it go. And she goes, oh, what was that? Where's Keola? Where's Kanoa? He's in Manoa on the other side of the line. Call him. I'm coming over to your house in an hour. We're going to get that phobia. So she comes over, and then of course we clear it in about a minute or so. And
well, let me ask you this: doesn't it require I guess what you're saying it by talking about this lady? She's got to be receptive to it.
Absolutely.
They've got to be willing to allow the energy to flow through them to help them remove these phobias. I know that we were talking about claustrophobia and acrophobia and different things like that, and it just seems like if you are able to bring in energy from beyond, from the spirit world, that it can be very helpful to you, but you still have to be open to it. If you block it, then it's not going to help. Now, another thing you were saying earlier, though, that I thought was quite interesting, was that once a phobia has been removed, it's difficult to really bring it back. Is that right?
If not impossible. You'd have to create another one, and we haven't had anybody bring one back yet. So I'm sure it's possible.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's possible, but we haven't come across that yet.
Now, you've also talked about removing phobias, but you were telling me earlier about fears. About a lot of people have a fear of being successful. It's like a lot of times we sabotage ourselves in life, and we sabotage our relationships. We sabotage just things, our jobs, and we need to learn about how to remove that type of behavior. And as you were saying once again earlier, that a lot of these fears and a lot of these things are introduced to us when we're children. And so I was wondering if you could talk about that, about taking care of that inner child and taking care of that vulnerable place that we all have. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I think this might be the time where we talk about the foundation, how people create these emotional blocks. And so we believe when somebody comes to us, and most of the time when they come to us, they're ready. So unless the wife drags the husband along, and even when they do that, we've been able to work with them. It just takes a little longer,
Yeah.
However,
well, that goes back to what I was saying earlier. And for the most part, women seem to be a little more open than men, but that's changing, thank goodness. And sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but once the men open up, they do just fine. They find that there's nothing wrong with this kind of work, and it's not silly, and it's not woo woo. It's really pretty grounded.
Right, exactly. So because we work really good with men, skeptical men, no matter what, because when they feel the energies, there's no denying it. It's not like, he has an electric rod or he has a flashlight or something. They're experiencing it for themselves. They can feel it, and it's like, oh, what was that? Oh my God, and it changes their world. Wow, so we really like working with the men because we want to bring them up, and we found it pretty easy to work with them because. And it's not pretty easy to work with them per se. It's because they can feel the energy.
Yeah, that's right.
And when you feel the energy, there's no doubt. I felt it. Something's different, So then they can begin to accept the somewhat unacceptable.
It's very, very powerful. I know because I could feel the energy in our dog. My dog walked into the room, and as the three of you were working on me, he was shaking it off. I mean, he definitely felt that powerful energy coming in, and so that I thought was very good too. But we had to make him leave because he was getting more energy than me. But when we are children, and a lot of these negative things are thrust upon us. Not all parents do that, but many times we look back and we go, well, that childhood experience really affected me. and it can change your life. But if we're open to being healed through energy, then we can deal with that. And that's what I was hoping you could tell us a little bit about.
Yeah, well, Tamara came in and was saying that you might want us to do a chant a little later on.
Yeah.
You know, and the thing about doing a chant is, we just don't chant to chant. So what I would like to do is give them the foundation, and then when we get ready to do the chant, hopefully somewhere at the end or so, then the individuals that are listening can actually think about something that they want to let go, because they'll have the understanding, and then we'll just send out the energies and
well, we can do that. We'll do that
on the airwaves
in the next hour. We'll do that in the second hour.
Yeah, it's a little too short right now. So
yeah, but no, because I know that right now you guys are traveling all around the country. You just got back from Mount Shasta, and in Mount Shasta, that energy there is very inspiring from what Keola was saying. Is that right, Keola? Or
Keola.
Keola, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the energies are very good, very good. Part is Mount Shasta is drawing a lot of people searching. Just like we have a lot of people coming to Hawaii, and it's a very calming place. Good energies, good grounding. You can get back with nature, and you can feel it there. Where everything is calm. The energies are. You don't have so much industries and automobiles around, so the energies are different. Very calming, very peaceful. Yeah.
That's on my bucket list too, to go to Mount Shasta, because I think that would be a wonderful experience. But did you get some healing when you were there from the area?
Yes, I would have to say yes. As far as what you feel inside, it brings you more centered. Where you one within yourself, because especially when you're out there in the beautiful mountain and the woods and the trees, you feel like one with everything, and that's a good balance. That's a good balance.
Well, both of you gave up careers, and I know, Kanoa, you were maybe retired from the Navy, but they still call you back in, I'm told, and to help them out. But to give up your careers and for you to be so passionate about healing people, you must get a great deal of satisfaction to be helping so many. And I know that wherever you go, you seem to draw crowds. Is that right?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. It's been very well. And I got to say one thing. You remember when I told you Kanoa helped me let go of that anger? Well, at that time, he asked me, hey, you want to do a testimony, a videotape testimony? And I said, sure. So I sat down, and what I said was, I had a lot of anger issues. I mean, I had so much anger issues that actually I've been brain scanned 3 times. They was worried that I would pop a blood vessel because my blood pressure went up critical. I mean, it was really bad. And so when he helped me clear the anger, and I went to do a testimony for him, I said, I have never felt such peace and calm in my life. And if I'm given the opportunity, I would love to share and allow others to feel a peace and calm that I feel, that I've never felt in my life. And that point is when, things changed. When I went to Big Island, to Lapakahi, Aheao, and it changed my life and started me on this path. And I'm doing what I really like doing. I like helping people. I like giving people the peace and the calm, especially when people are so lost, searching, unsure, feeling like they're outcasts because of their sensitivities. And a lot of them, when you look at them, they look like they're hiding. They're just trying to survive. And so for me, that's I feel so grateful and blessed that I can be a vessel for spirit. And that's what I am, People call us healers and kahunas, but we're just a vessel.
Mm-hmm. Would you say that this is kind of a ministry for you, or some type of, of course, a spiritual awakening that you allow people to experience? But do you feel like they find a greater meaning in their life after a session?
Definitely. You find who you truly are. A lot of us don't know. You're hiding. You're just trying to survive. Not sure of whether you're supposed to be feeling certain things or not. People got walls up so thick, and they're looking for love and looking for someone to connect to. And they can't connect because they got such walls over the heart from issues from their past, and also feeling everybody. And and so when they meet someone, they can't truly feel the person.
Mm-hmm. But like you say, so many people now are opening up.
Oh, yes.
And because they have so much stress on them, they've got to find other ways to release it. And people want to move away from drugs. They want to move away from alcohol. Maybe not entirely, but but they want to move away to find peace, and they want to not just escape for a brief period, but they want to get rid of it. They don't want it. They don't want it to hang on them all of their life. And so, what you are doing is you are you're helping people release, but you're also teaching people. In our next hour, we're going to take a break here in just a couple more minutes. But I'd like for you to both of you to tell us a little bit about your classes. I'd like for you to tell us a little bit more about how you train people to do this kind of work and the different levels, because Reiki has different levels. They have Reiki 1, 2, and 3, and I'm sure you have. You can tell us about the different levels of your work, and then of course Kanoa wanted to tell us a little bit more about the actual process of it, and I just think that everyone would find that interesting. So I want to remind everyone that we're on EPIC Voyagers Radio. We're here on the Inception Radio Network. We tonight have Kanoa and Kanoa from Keola from Hawaii visiting the Texas area, and they're going to be here all month. They're going to be in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. They've been to Lightworker Sanctuary in the Colony, Texas, and they are going to be at Miracles of Joy in Lewisville, Texas this weekend. Before that, though, they are going to be at my meetup group in Addison, Texas. They're going to be at Beyond Metaphysics Meetup in Addison on Wednesday night at 7 p.m., and they're going to be doing a demonstration of their work. And we hope that if you're in the area, you can stop by. So it is time to take a break. Please stay with us here on EPIC Voyagers Radio. I'm your guest host, John Cappello. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back to EPIC Voyagers Radio here on the Inception Radio Network. I'm psychic medium John Cappello, and I'm a guest host tonight here on this program, and I'm delighted to have two Hawaiian spiritual healers with me this evening. We have Keola and Kanoa, and they've been telling us about their work, about how they got into it, and what the work does for people, and it's quite fascinating, and we are delighted that you are with us as well. So we hope that you'll join us in the chat room this evening. We have a very active chat room as usual here on this program. Now you can call in if you'd like to talk to either one of our guests, and our phone number is 888-440-7130, and we are delighted to have them in the Texas area. We're broadcasting tonight from North Texas, and Keola and Kanoa have traveled to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, where they have been doing work at Lightworkers Sanctuary in the Colony, and they are going to be working this weekend at Miracles of Joy, teaching how this type of healing works, and they're introducing it at the Beyond Metaphysics meetup on Wednesday night at Spring Creek Barbecue in Addison, Texas. It's off of Midway Road near Beltline, and our program will begin at 7 p.m. and it's free, so you're welcome to come and visit with us and get us to show you this type of work. And the Beyond Metaphysics meetup is about introducing people to different metaphysical disciplines. And when I'm a guest here on this program, I usually have the guests that I have at my meetup coming to speak. And I have them here on the program, and then they are on my program as well, and then they make a live presentation to all the people that come to the meetup. We have well over 30 people signed up this week, and I'm really pleased about that. I hope that all of them come. And if you are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, you don't need to be a member of Meetup or the Beyond Metaphysics Meetup group to attend. You're just welcome to come. So please come if you're in the area. You can enjoy some of the great barbecue at Spring Creek Barbecue, and come to the back room over there. So also, just to let you know a little bit about what's going on with me, I'll be in Galveston this weekend, and then I will be in Houston as well. I'll be at Center Point. I'll be doing one of my mediumship workshops, Sitting with Spirit. I'll be working with my students on how to identify loved ones in spirit. I'll be doing my Psychic Journeys workshop. We'll be talking about intuition and how that works. And then we'll be doing a gallery there, and also we'll be doing a psychic fair on Sunday. So if you're in the Houston area and you'd like to take part in one of the workshops that I'll be doing, you're welcome to join us. I always mention that I'm the author of a book called Open the Mind, Exercise the Soul. It is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. You're welcome to buy it there. It's a book that's been widely awarded by several different organizations, and I'm very proud to have those distinctions. So what we're going to do is we're going to get back to our two guests. And they were talking about foundations, and we were listening to Kanoa, excuse me, and he was telling us about how they set the foundation with a client, and how they introduce the work to the people who are interested. And so, Kanoa, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. Well, you were talking about foundations, and you gave me a little talk before we did our healing today. And so if you'd like to expound on that and tell us a little bit more about it, and how you go about giving a reading for someone, that would be just great.
Excellent. So when somebody comes, if you're in one of our classes, we cover all of this and a lot more. However, when somebody comes for a clearing or a session, you can't just go up to the person and say, okay, write down what you want to clear and we'll clear it. They have to have an understanding of how and why they created it. And it has to make sense, logical sense. So we put together what we refer to as a foundation, an explanation of how the mind works, how they created the blockages that they have, and then why they might choose to let them go. So, and a little later on, we were thinking that, there was a request for a chant, and it's not like we just don't chant to chant. So I was thinking, once we get the foundation, and if I am going to chant, I would like it to have some meaning and purpose. So when we do chant, and I believe I am, think about something that you would like to resolve or let go of. It doesn't have to be the biggest thing in your life now. So just think about something. Once you understand the foundation, And then, so when we do the chant, then you can allow the chant to assist you in helping release the trauma or the negative emotions around what the block is. So without further ado, let me kind of explain the foundation quickly. So even though we have 2 hours, it seems like time's just flying by. So we believe that there's a bowl of light within each of us. That's our connection to spirit, at least our connection to our own internal wisdom, what we know to be true, what we know to be right. And as we move through life, we tend to pick up stuff. You can imagine this stuff like being stones or rocks. In Hawaii, we call it pohakus, stones or rocks, just piled up on your bowl of light. What are these stones? What are these rocks? They are memories, your memories with negative emotions around them. When you think about who you are an accumulation of your experiences or your memories. And you actually use your memories to create your strategies, behaviors, how you do something. When you have positive memories, you create positive strategies. When you have memories with negative emotions around them, you tend to create the strategy based on emotion. Oftentimes it's not serving you, especially if the emotion around the memory is anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt, fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of being undeserving, unworthy, fear of abandonment. In fact, we go as far as to say is if you have a memory with negative emotions around them, you cannot get the learnings. Because every time you try to access the memory to get the learnings, you have to go through the negative emotions. It at least distorts the memory, the learnings within it. So how do you get the learnings? Release the negative emotions around the memory. It's that simple. Clearly seen in a phobia. John, help me out. Did we talk about phobias already? I think we did, right?
Well, we talked a little bit about removing phobias like claustrophobia or acrophobia. And we talked a little bit about fears and how energy can help remove us from self-limiting fears that we have, like fears of success and stuff like that. So, but if you want to speak to that again, you're certainly welcome to do that.
Okay, so when we're talking about phobias, what is a phobia? It's an inappropriate response to something. You know you shouldn't be afraid of something, but you are. And, like I was talking about earlier, the most extreme phobia that we had was the person that was afraid of snakes. And when we actually asked her, after we helped her let go of the snakes, we asked her how, because, if she'd seen a real snake, she'd pass out. Like I said, if she'd seen a picture of a snake, she'd pass out. And her daughter drew it on a napkin. 46 years later, she passed out again. So how did she create that extreme behavior? Fishing at night with her family in Hawaii. Her uncle thought it would be funny, cut the head off an eel, stuck it down her shirt. She just went screaming into the night on the reef. What was she thinking? It was probably something like this: I'm never ever going to feel this level of fear again. But what can I do? I don't know. I think I'm just going to check out. How long? A couple hours should do it. And it worked well at 7, not so much at 17. 46 years later, went from real eel to real snake, Likepu saying, I'm out of here, to a picture. She has to be saying a picture can't hurt me. The other part is saying let's just be safe, to a squiggly line on a napkin. So well,
you bring up a good point. Sometimes a prank, like sticking an eel down someone's shirt, which is harmless, can imprint someone in such a negative way that it's very difficult to get that imprint away from them. And like ducking someone underwater, in a prank to act like you're drowning them when you're not. But that sort of meanness can affect someone, especially children.
Exactly. And that dunking on the water stuff happened a couple times. We worked with people a couple times that had that happen to them. So that's a real one right there. So anyway, it's not about releasing phobias, it's about releasing negative emotions around memories. When you do have a session with us, if you have a phobia, we'll definitely include it, because that's probably the most significant thing you're going to remember after the session. But we're also going to clear anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt. Which anger? What memories of anger? All of them. Well, I can't remember them all, Just write down a few that you do know, and then check any that you can remember after, and you find out that they're neutral. That's how you know they're gone. We use this muscle testing thing that we'll kind of explain. I don't know if we'll have time to do that because, time's limited. But, for those people that use muscle testing, does muscle testing always work? And yes, it does always work the way we use it. So if you want to know, come to the class. Or maybe later on we might have time to explain it. So, once you're done with the session, virtually all of the events/memories, trauma of anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt, fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of being undeserving, word issues with abandonment, resolving conflicts with people, places, and things, including self and spirit, are released. So remember we talked about that bowl of light, and you have all of these things, these pohakos, these stones, these rocks floating above it. What are they really? When you think about it, they are a true essence of you. All these memories with negative emotions around them are who you truly are that haven't integrated into that bowl of light, who you truly are. So once you release the negative emotions around them, all those memories and the learnings within those memories become a part of you. Easily and effortlessly.
So
and then after the session, that's like the initial session. Then after that, we teach you how to. This is in the session, and we also teach it to you in the training. We teach you how to be in control of your thoughts. We teach you how to ground the protective bubble. And this is real interesting because a lot of times when people put up a protective bubble, so to speak, they put up a protective shield, and they don't allow a lot of negativity to come in. They don't stop it all. But the problem with that is you might stop a lot of negativity from coming in, but you'll also stop the love, the joy, the happiness from coming in as well. And what happens to the negativity that you're trapping inside? When I say inside of what? Inside of you. It will manifest in the physical form eventually. And that can't be good. So the form of, if you want to say protection or bubble, we think that, we have a healthy form of, so to speak, protection. There's a number of things too that we cover education, because we just think that education is part of life and living. What else? Pulling in any distractions that you have. How many of you are out there that you can't go to the mall or you can't go to noisy places? That's because you have these feelers out. You don't know how to control your senses. We teach you how to control your senses.
Well, you talk about controlling your senses. You're talking about controlling like your psychic senses, because we absorb other people's energy. I mean, you could be standing in a mall and have the appearance of being just fine, but if there's a lot of negativity there, then we're like sponges. We absorb that, and later on, we can be extremely tired, or we might have a headache, or we might be nauseous. And so what you're saying is you help people learn to control that. Is that right?
Yes. They can control their space so that others don't affect them. People do that all the time. Like I said, sensitive people, 3 things that sensitive people do: hang outside of their body, put some walls right across the heart, and think a lot. The more you think, the less you feel. As far as other senses, usually people that have ability to, people don't like to say, I can hear other people's thoughts. But when we ask them, do you have an intuition of what people are thinking? Oh, yes. Well, it is. A lot of times when people are that sensitive, they love animals. Because animals are pure in thought. If they love you, they love you. If they hate you, they hate you. With humans, not so much. They can say one thing and you can feel something else. You can get something else. A lot of deception. So a lot of times, sensitive people have a hard time in crowd hearing other people. So it's just learning to control.
Well, you have different levels of teaching,
right?
And is that part of level 1, or how many levels do you have in order? And do you offer like a certification of the type of teaching? How many classes do you have to take, or what period of time that it is that you have to engage in this training? And I know I'm asking you all these questions, but is there a formal name to the type of healing that you do?
Yes. It's called Lao Kahea.
Lao Kahea. Oh, okay. And what does that mean in English? Does it have an English?
That's close enough.
That's close enough. Okay.
Yeah.
So I won't get punched in the nose if I say
so
it to
La'au
somebody.
is healing.
La'au.
La'au is healing, and Kahea is the call.
Oh.
So
Okay.
you're calling to the heavens to assist in the healing process.
And
That's in level 2. We when we're teaching level 1, we teach you a more linear process, so you can have some linear process to use, and we will be demonstrating La'au Kahea throughout the whole class. And then from level 1 to level 2, we just require you to have we just need to evaluate you for level 2, because we need to make sure that you're clear. So in that evaluation, you'll have a session with us, and we'll make sure that any negativity that you have is balanced, clear the negativity out, so that when we get to level 2, we only take a day to teach you how to flow energy, because it should be easy. When you're good, when you're balanced, you're in the Hawaiian lokahi, then it's real easy. So what do you do on the second day, or the majority of the second day? You practice flowing energy, La'au Kahea. On who? With who? People that you don't know. So we bring in people. If we're in Hawaii, we'd bring it in. But most of the time, we ask the students if they want to bring somebody in. And most of them have somebody that they would like to bring in. If not, we're working at centers, like the Miracles of Joy and
Light workers.
The light workers. Well, they'll have people, coming in. Oh, no problem. So they have more people than normally than we would like. But we promise them, if you're volunteering to come to be a volunteer for our class, we promise that we will clear any and all phobias that you have, and at least one emotional event.
Wow. Well, I guess the time has come to ask you to do your chant, and then after you've done your chant, we'd like to get some comments from people in our chat room, and so they can let us know how they're feeling, because we want everyone in the chat room to join us and join us in this exercise or this healing, and we'll give Kanoa and Kanoa just a moment to get prepared, and because I have to be honest, when you worked on me, you could feel the energy, and the energy was especially in my arms. The heat from the energy went into my arms, and I felt that warmth coming into my body, and it just felt like a cool breeze that was coming to my head and to my chest and stuff, and so it was quite fascinating and quite powerful, and like I say, even my dog, who happened to walk into the room, felt that energy, because he was decidedly making motions that he just would not have made if he just walked into the room. And so it's just an additional validation of the power of the energy between the three of you. Now, Tamara is not in our conversation right now, but she's listening in, and she's in the chat room as well. And she's a very powerful healer in her own right. So just let me know when you guys are ready, and what you want us to do as listeners. Go ahead.
Real quick, Tamara does angelic light therapy, and very, very good. However, we want for the participation. I mentioned earlier that we just don't chant to chant, so I'd like to have some use when we do the chant. The chant in English translation, a very short translation, would be bringing in the energy, the mana, the life force, to assist in removing any blocks that you have. So if you're out there and you want to clear all your blocks, I would say probably not. Pick something that you want to experience and have feel the vibrations and assist you. So validate something that you would like to have a measurable difference in, and then we're going to give you like a minute, and then we're going to start Is that good, John?
Yeah, that's fine. Now, you do use breathing when you're. I mean, I could hear your breaths. It wasn't really a chant, but it was a breath. Now, you did do some like throat singing too. Did you? Is that right? Do you
That's
do throat?
the chant at the very end.
Okay, at the very end. Okay, I gave it away. But a lot of, excuse me, indigenous peoples do that throat singing, and it's becoming a lost art. So I'll just shut up and.
Well, it's not throat singing. It's actually Hawaiian words. But,
Hawaiian words. Okay, it kind of comes out like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
Okay. I got Tam here with me.
Oh, you do? You got Tam with you? Okay.
So we're ready.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, Keola.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So we'll tell them to kind of, give them, get in touch with it, and then.
Okay. So
we'll do a couple ha breaths, and then. Okay.
Okay.
So you use the ha breaths.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll do your lead. Okay. So whoever's out there listening that would like to participate, and you'd like to have some release on something, we'll see if we can help you.
Okay. So first thing we're going to do is we'll just
whatever you might. Go ahead, Keola.
Yeah.
You can take
We
over.
just want to make sure that everyone is grounded. So just kind of ground yourselves.
Okay.
And you can close your eyes and open up to whoever you believe higher than yourself. Get in touch with those feelings, those emotions. And if it's okay for you to let go of these negative emotions, allow Spirit to come in and assist you in letting go. Helmai.
Amama uno.
Then
So, John, that was it.
Yep.
The Amama Uanoa was, it is done.
Wow. Well, that's amazing. So you've been sending healing to everyone listening to our voices, and that's pretty incredible. And I don't know, I feel the energy. I'm interested in seeing what people start saying in our chat room. But it's like we were saying. Also, you have to be open to this, and you have to be willing to let go of different phobias and different past hurts that may be affecting you. And so now they're coming in. Tears. Okay, I had the chills. Okay, well, that's wonderful. We're glad that this has been very effective for you because, it comes from spirit, and we are spiritual beings with a body. And so we have these abilities. It's just we have to open up. And I guess it's exciting now because so many people, like we said so many times during the program, are opening up. They're discovering the different types of gifts that they have. And people have always had these gifts. It's just they didn't talk about it. Now, finally, they are giving themselves permission to talk about it and permission to explore. And we're finding out so many different abilities that people have, and we've talked in the past about how some people have these photogenic memories, and how there's actually a part of the brain that is overdeveloped to where they can do that. But it's like it's something new. But it's not new. It's just people didn't talk about it. And some people, like, well, even with my gifts, people ask me, "Have you always been able to do this?" Well, I don't know any different as far as bringing in spirit is concerned, because it's always been a part of my life. And that's the way it is with I would assume with healers. Is, have you always felt like you had these abilities, Kanoa? Kanoa, are you there? Or Keola, are you there?
Yeah. For me, early, no, I really don't think I had this. I had an ability to make people feel comfortable. But as far as knowing the healing abilities, that didn't come until I got out of my own road.
So you had to kind of make a shift before you recognized your gifts. Is that right?
Right.
Yeah.
For me, yes.
Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of us are doing that. A lot of people are discovering their gifts after some type of event. And, you hear about near-death experiences and how that just radically alters the course of a person's life. And just different experiences, different people coming into your life that may say something or do something that in some way relates to you or seems to communicate a particular message that you can accept. And those things are about life-changing attitudes and opening up our consciousness a little bit more. So I really think that in the future we are going to we'll overcome a lot of the pettiness that we seem to get into at times, and let go of that so that we can be better people. When you don't have an issue that's bothering you, or you don't have a phobia, you get so many more things done. Have you noticed that when you're not angry and when you're not upset? And there's Kanoa. I was going to ask him about a YouTube. He's on the chat room now. But when you don't have something that's bugging you, how much more productive you can be. You can get so many more things done.
Give it to.
Is that right? Keola?
I wasn't quite paying attention if you were talking to Kanoa.
Yes,
so
it
what
was.
Well, I was, you're on they've got your picture now or YouTube on in the chat room. I don't know if Tamara did that or not, but you put it on there?
Well, I didn't, but I meant to give. Our communication was off. I gave the YouTube connection. This is a video where we cleared a phobia in 2007 in Canada, and when the lady's walking up to Keola and she's responding to a picture of a spider on the floor, and it's the most
videotaped.
Yeah, videotape. The most traumatic or videotaped phobia, so it was pretty interesting. So I mentioned, I told her to give it to you so you could tell them.
Oh, she just typed it in. Yeah, she's more technical than she thinks.
But anyway, we always talk about videos or phobias, but it's very effective on grief and loss and PTSD.
Yeah.
They took us up to Alaska last year, and we worked with a group of people. It's not the Wounded Warriors per se, but it was similar offshoot of the Wounded Warriors, and we had a really good experience with them.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would imagine it would be good for military people, and with you being a military person, you probably are sensitive to the groups that could really benefit from this type of work. Now, do you find that any service people or former service people would want to learn about this type of healing to kind of spread the word?
Well, the answer is most of the time not. Because if you're in the military, you have to have this persona, and it's like, this stuff doesn't affect me, even though, they know it does, they have all the history and stuff. We still try to, man up and no, it doesn't affect me. And that's why you have so many incidences, so to speak. And if you know what I mean by incidences, we won't go any further. So they just take it upon themselves to solve their own problems in the wrong way. And we would like to get it out more of it. The modern psychology doesn't necessarily accept what we do yet. Although we've had several psychologists come to my house and we've had sessions with them, and took them, so to speak, to another level. They really enjoyed us and things. And we've had other psychologists recommend people to us.
Well, modern medicine and psychology, they're opening, or they're willing to, or many of them, and I'm sure some of them aren't, but I know I have a lot of social workers and counselors who are interested in my work, and I find that so many of them are very psychic in their own regard, and they're so astute, or so much more able to work with their clients when they do tap into their psychic abilities, because their psychic abilities helps them diagnose so they can use their training to move forward. And it's interesting because I also get a lot of special needs teachers who are clients, and clients not in the sense that they need that they're going through anything. It's just that they're interested in my work, because they say a lot of special needs children are really more enlightened than most people. And they find that to be very, very curious, because the wisdom that they have is astonishing, they tell me. And another group of people that I find are very interesting are neonatal nurses, women who work in these nurseries, because with these newborns, they are astonished at some of the things that the newborns do. One lady told me that she says, I became a believer in past lives because I would see the expression on some of these children's faces, because they would, for instance, one of them, she said one day, put his hand to his head and felt his head was bald and slightly misshapen because he was a newborn. And he opened his mouth, and his expression is like, where in the heck am I? And because now what kind of thought was that? I don't mean to try to get off the topic, but what I'm doing is I'm getting close to ending the program where we began, and that is people are opening up. People are recognizing that there's things out there that are not just a formula, not just mechanical, or not just some type of everything may not be a hands-on answer. There's something beyond that beyond the physical, metaphysical, and it's going to broaden people's perspectives as more and more people get involved. And even when I was in Tulsa, this lady who was in a medical, scrubs, she walked into the metaphysical store where I was at, and I said, "Do you come here often?" No, that's not a pickup line. But she said she got her aura picture taken, and she just seemed so surprised or bewildered in the store, and I said, that's when I asked her, I said, well, haven't you been here before? And she goes, no, this is the first time. And so she had worked in a dental office, but she was opening up to these things. And she says, I've always been so curious. I've been so curious to come into one of these stores and look at the crystals and look at the things that are so fascinating. She says, I've always had an attraction to them, but I just never really took the time to go into a place like this, and you're not going to be attracted to everything in a metaphysical store, or every crystal, or anything like that, but there are going to be some things that are going to resonate with you, and oftentimes these stores will offer healing classes, and by you traveling around the country and offering your type of healing, it wouldn't surprise me that you don't really create a big following, which I'm sure you have a following now because you already have traveled around the country many times at this point. So, have you ever been to New York or other places to do your work?
Not for the healing. I've been to New York when I was in the military and stuff, but never for healing.
Been to Chicago, Denver, San Diego, actually quite a few places, Las Vegas. But, when you keep talking about people are awakening, I really want the people that listening, especially if you're just opening up, awakening, don't think you're out of place or you're crazy or you're different from everyone else. Just a lot of people don't talk about these sensitivities. So don't think that you're out there by yourself. You just need to learn to control what you have, okay? And it makes life easy. You just got to learn. So don't feel like you're out there by yourself with no options or you're going crazy. It's not.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Well, it took me a long time to accept my gifts too. So go ahead, Kanoa.
Yeah, just real quick. Keola was wanting to talk about. We do offer Skype sessions, but most of the time it's through Keola. And then we have a DVD CD set that Tam just brought over to you. We keep forgetting about these things, we get on the healing side and forget all about the other stuff.
Well, I want you to tell people how to find you. What's your website? What's your email? If you have a phone number, just different things like that. Because we need to get that out there. We want you to go ahead and promote yourself and let people know, what they can do to reach you.
Okay, so here's the number. If you want to get a hold of Keola, it's 808-782-6767. And if you want to get a hold of me, Kanoa, it's 808-782-6767. Call Keola, in other words. And then, we're on Facebook. We have a website, but our webmaster passed a while back, and we're not web enthusiasts, or we're not very good at all. So but it's ehomanamaiola.com or pokeandpoi.com, pokeandpoi.com. And in Hawaii, it's real easy to remember, because that's a common thing that we say. And the information is still good there. But if you look at our travel log, where's Kanoa and Keola? Don't look at that, because it's been out of date for like 5 years. Mm-hmm. But anyway, the Facebook, which is the link that I think Tamara gave you earlier, is there, or you can just type in Kanoa and Keola, and I think we pop up. So we're we're not very good at promoting. Mm-hmm. And
well, that's the case with a lot of spiritual people. They're just they're in it for the spirituality. They're not the marketing gurus that are out there. So that's quite typical. But word of mouth it gets around, and
right.
You said you had 30 people at the colony, and that's quite a large number of people, because the Lightworker Sanctuary is a small place. A lot of people don't know that, but and they're able to bring in 30 people to see you, so that's quite amazing.
And just real quick to describe the DVD set, it's actually a healing CD, and we created it a few years ago, and the DVD explains how the mind works, kind of like the foundation that we got, and then you listen to the CD, and the CD is actually a clearing track. It's like having a session with Keola and I without us being there physically. Mm-hmm. And the clearing tracks are track number 3 and track number 5. Track number 3 is 18 minutes long. Track number 5 is 7 minutes long. And it's the exact same thing. We go over the exact same thing. However, track number 5 is for maintenance. After you've listened to it for a while, if you don't have 18 minutes, you probably can't have 7, Mm-hmm. And anyway,
now, are these meditations or just...
No. It's you know what you went through today?
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's like that. It's like that. Yeah, it's a session. It's a
session. You watch the video first, and we give you the foundation, so you know why you created things and how to use muscle testing and all this stuff. Kind of like a class, really, a mini class. And then, and we even have a clearing up there. We have somebody that we cleared, and we have an interview on what she said. And then you do your own clearing, and it's just like what's in the video. We like the person to lay down, and you don't be listening in your car and all that stuff. Lay down and, identify what you want to work on first, and then lay down and
well, let me ask you this. Now, we haven't talked about funds, or we haven't talked about what you charge. What do you charge for your classes?
Oh, in Texas, I think it's $395. When we were in Vegas, it was a lot more expensive there in Vegas, but we came to Texas, and we said, okay, let's. So I think it's $395 for both classes. $395 for level 1, $395 for level 2, and then in between, normally we charge $200 for a personal session, and if you're taking the level 1 going to level 2, it's $100, and it's really an evaluation as well.
And are you booked up right now, or if someone needed to make an appointment, when are you actually doing sessions?
Well, we're starting to do sessions now. There's 3 places that we do the sessions, at the Lightworkers, at the Miracles of Joy, and at our hotel room in
Louisville.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to help you out there, because I know you. when you're from out of town, you don't know where am I.
We're in Louisville, John. We're in Louisville.
Yes,
we're at
yes. You're at the extended stay.
Extended stay. There you go.
Yeah. So because you're going to be here for a month, and so I hope you'll stay in touch while you're here. And we want to thank you both of you for being a part of our program tonight here on EPIC Voyagers, because it's in keeping with what EPIC Voyagers does. They've expanded from just not ufology to other things that are kind of unexplained, or kind of broadening that consciousness of humanity and being open for possibilities. And so it's very good, and we're very lucky to have you on our program this evening. So is there anything else either one of you would like to talk to us about as we start to close down?
Keola, are you on the other side?
Yeah, well, it's been a pleasure to be here. Pleasure to meet you. And
well, you're welcome.
Having a lovely dinner.
Yeah.
You have a great audience.
I made them stuffed hamburgers tonight.
Yeah, well, we would really like to have people come out to the classes so we can share. We really like to make big splashes in raising consciousness, and it is by helping people clear, personal sessions, but the way you really make an impact is by teaching classes. So our big picture, this is our big picture. We would like to have really extremely large classes, like say 500 people. But in order to have 500 people, you have to have a whole bunch of assistants that have gone through the class, and we believe that they're proficient enough to assist in the class. And our biggest our goal is to be able to pay them, travel around and have these huge classes with these people that, can make a living off of raising consciousness with us. Anyway, that's the big picture.
Yeah.
Starting out slow.
Well, I'm glad that you are coming to Texas. Are you planning to come here on a regular basis, or is this just a one-time deal?
I think we probably will. Yeah.
Well, very good. It sounds very fascinating. Where do you go to after Texas?
Home for a little rest.
Yeah, I'm home for a day, then I fly out to another island for some Hawaiian function But the nearest things that are coming up for us, I don't think we're going to go to Florida or any other place where they want us to go this year. But the beginning of next year, it's Florida, Canada, and I'm not sure where else. Mm-hmm. You guys said someplace else, Keola.
San Diego.
San Diego. Yeah. That's fascinating. So, do you have people contact you and invite you to come out, or how do you make those decisions?
Well, people ask us to come a lot of times to different places, and with us, we don't really plan it. And Spirit will say, "You need to go now." And next thing we know, we're packing up, making reservations to take off, to go fly and do the work. So we kind of go with Spirit's guidance when Spirit tells us to go.
Yeah. Well, as you were saying in the beginning, you're a farmer, so farmers have a great deal of faith.
John, there's been so many times where we're at this place and Spirit says to work on that person. In the beginning, it was kind of hard for Keola to go up there, but now, no problem for any of us. We pull up in a parking lot, somebody's talking on the phone. I get out and we're waiting for somebody to show up, and I tell Keola, I think we got to work with this guy. You know him? Not yet.
Not yet. No.
And then, sure enough, we work with him. Yeah. So that happens so many times,
Mm-hmm. Now, the two of you are getting ready to go to the State Fair of Texas. That's going on right now. So that should be interesting to see the two of you there at the State Fair of Texas. It'd be interesting if someday you didn't maybe get a booth there, because they have up to 3 million people there in the next in a 3-week period. So you can imagine how crowded it is. No, it would be getting the word out about your work is something very important. Because it's another form of spirituality, and people are moving a little bit away from organized religion in many ways, and they're looking for other modalities, and you offer that. So, is this form of healing part of a religion or part of a Native American religion or a Hawaiian religion?
Well,
or is it just tradition?
It's spirituality. If we want to put it, we want to use a word to describe it. It was just a way of life. This is the way we lived, and with the modern context, modern civilization things, we had to kind of put definitions and boundaries and context on it. So if we wanted to identify it, it is not religion. It is more spirituality. It is a way of life. Lokahi is balance. Balance the mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah, well, that's very kind. Now, do you have any books, or do you have any kind of, without other than this CD, do you have anything like that?
No, but many people have been telling us we should write one, and we actually do have things. There's a couple of stories like, we want to talk about our experiences, and then we want to write down, our healing process and the modalities. We have 2 venues that we could go, and which ones we've started, right? Neither. And then we want to write a children's book, so that they read the book and they can do the process on their own,
Yeah.
And that hasn't happened yet either. So.
Well, it's not easy to write a book. I know that, but I've got 2 more that are getting ready to come out, I hope, within the next year. So right. You just have to do something on it every day, or be at least thinking about it in order to get a book done. But the thing about it is that the type of work that you're doing and setting the foundation and the idea of releasing the phobias. If you do write it, then you give people the opportunity to experience your legacy, and you have a way of passing it to the next generation, which is in print, not just from word of mouth, and you can express yourself in a way that only you can do that, which is a real good thing to do. So we are looking forward to seeing both of you on Wednesday night at Beyond Metaphysics Meetup And once again, that's at the Spring Creek Barbecue in Addison, Texas. And if you need directions, just go to Beyond Metaphysics Meetup at the meetup.com site, and you can find us there. And we're excited about that. The meetup will last about an hour. But you can stay another hour to set up a session or get more information from either Kanoa or Keola or even Tamara, who is a native Texan, by the way, and she has moved out to Hawaii. So she's bringing a little bit of Texas culture out there to Hawaii. But please stay in touch with us, and I hope to be back sometime real soon here on EPIC Voyagers Radio. It's always a delight to connect with everyone in the chat room and be a part of the program, be a part of the EPIC family. So next week there's going to be another exciting topic. I know that October 20th, you'll get to meet my wife. My wife will be on EPIC Voyagers Radio. She's going to be talking about past lives and her work with the Ravenheart Institute, and she may be telling you a little bit about life between lives. So I hope that you'll tune in for that program. Because she's very knowledgeable about that particular topic. She's very passionate about it. She's had a lot of past life memories come to her, and she has journals and journals written down about her experiences and the lessons that she has learned through that. So I hope that you will tune in on October 20th for that particular program. And I believe Laurel Blythe is the guest host that evening. And tune in for the other guest hosts too. I know Dr. Rita Louise is a guest host who's a very good friend of mine as well. And she has her own program here on EPIC Voyagers. And I always remind people that we can. We have an app that you can download on your smartphone, and that is that's a good thing to have, because if you have Bluetooth in your car, you can listen to the Inception Radio Network in your car while you're driving along. So with that, I'm going to say so long for this evening. I'm John Cappello. I'm a psychic medium from North Texas. You can find me at www.johncappello.com, and you can find EPIC Voyagers at epicvoyagers.com as well. So good night and safe travels. Bye-bye.
Thank you for being with us tonight. Please join us again next Monday evening for Extraordinary Phenomena Investigations Council's EPIC Voyages. I'm Roger Peacock for EPIC. Until next time.
You say too much to learn. You say cover up the